The following is an ESG On Location video.
I'm with Ed Walsh now. Ed runs the storage group and software-defined infrastructure, I believe, for IBM. So the conference is called Think, and I want to think about things a little differently and see if you could do the same.
Sure.
So I wanted to start by saying to you, from your perspective, what, since you came in, what has changed, what is changing, what will change?
Yeah, so listen, I think if you look at the numbers, we're able to take it from 21 consecutive quarters of decline, not keep up with market, and realign it. I look at more a realignment. And by working with the right team, you're gonna get the right team involved, and then the right team allows you to put the right offerings, products, and we had to do a lot of offering work, but it's offering by offering, making sure it's getting competitive, outside in looking at it, and then really the go-to-market, and those they work together. How do you take the right offerings to market? And the biggest thing is changing our overall go-to-market. Instead of being about products, we have a very broad portfolio. It's really about having conversations with clients and helping them to be more data-driven and really modernize and transform their environments, which is a more relevant way. And also it brings out the strength of our portfolio, but also the bigger IBM come into affect the customer self.
Well, I want to come back to the bigger picture in just a second, but let me come back on one thing. How far would you say, I know you're not going to tell me or anyone else what your exact plans are, but how far would you say you are through that overall process of if you like, again, a turnaround for IBM Storage?
Phase one. I mean, it's really, so we talk more about it being a renaissance, right? It's a great age of recovery and revival, right? Mm-hmm. So you can't believe the power of the IBM culture. It's an embarrassment of riches of all the things we do have. Last company to have true primary research. Mm-hmm. We see not what's coming this year, but next year, but even further than that. Look what we're doing on storage flash and what we're doing on software-defined and backup recovery, but look what we're doing in quantum and others. And also—
I went to the session and my brain has not recovered.
Right. So we are truly, innovative technology. We have an industry context, how we go, and we also have a trust. I'll tell you, our clients trust us in what we do on data, but more, they trust us to get us to the next era of compute.
Okay. I said I'd come back to something you mentioned just now, that it's not just about storage anymore. I mean, clearly the portfolio is not just about storage, and I mean, you and I would meet at an Edge conference. I mean, it used to, everything when there was interconnect, there were all these separate pieces, and now we're together. Is it just a conference? I mean, is it just, is there more to this cohesive story that we hear from Ginny and at the conference than just having a conference and having Ginny speak?
Everyone wants to be data-driven in their business, and it doesn't matter if you're doing a public cloud or you're doing on-prem or you're doing physical or virtual or you want to do Docker containers. It doesn't matter what you're all looking to be more data-driven. So that brings the whole IBM portfolio to bear to help our clients get to this next era. So I think what you're seeing on stage is really IBM in a fully integrated vision, but you see more and more. I've even seen the difference in the last 18 months really executing as a team. Mm-hmm. Even the way we're going to market, you said, well, you kind of teed it up, is it just storage? I wouldn't want to be a CEO of just a storage product company because, to be honest, it doesn't solve the real needs. We start bringing analytics and what we're doing around bringing machine and deep learning together and make it much easier for people to consume. The things we're doing like IBM Cloud Private is taking the power of open source and allowing you to take all the difficulties of getting it up and running and getting all different pieces together. We make it simple distro almost and allow you to focus on getting a value. Those are not storage things, but it really affects how people engage us and how we engage our client to actually help them go forward. But if you can help them figure out where they want to get to in some level of detail, we can help them, because of the portfolio, get there over time and make the right short-term decisions. And you start to bring the power of IBM. It's not just storage. It's not just storage and servers. It's not just storage, servers, and analytics. Right. It's not that with cloud. It really adds to a broader conversation, and that's what's required to actually help people. We talked about the rise of the incumbent. These companies really want to be data-driven. It's not a product. Right. It's actually the company has to come and actually help clients get there.
It's interesting to me from the outside. I mean, I know how sometimes IBM can be very rigid, but I'm going to actually turn that to your advantage in some ways, because you talked about being stage one on the storage side. I'm assuming in terms of this cohesive thing, it's stage one. But we also know that dear old IBM and its legal department, if you say you're going to do things, and you are already doing some of them. Yeah. So there's a credibility there to what you're saying. This doesn't sound to me like a vague marketing promise. It's beginning to happen. Okay. We started with you as storage. We talked a bit about IBM. I would just like to close by talking about the market more generally.
Sure.
We always like to think and talk about being in a state of change and it's the next great revelation. Yeah. Are things changing? Is cloud it? Quantum is a way off. Where do you think we are and what has changed over the last few years and where are we going?
I think it's a great time to be in storage. I think it's a wonderful time to be in IT. Our clients are challenged with more complexity because it's moving so much faster. I think we are hitting an inflection point and it's really starting to go fast. We help people modernize and transform their environments, which is a lot of things we've always done, drive efficiency, drive automation, but now people are really looking for how to be data driven. And the first age of this, the age of data was really the non-incumbents, the challengers coming and using data and disrupting markets. We actually see the age of the incumbent because they have the data that the other people don't. 80% of the data is not searchable by the public. And you're able to leverage that, but that takes technology, but also human capital. We see three very specific patterns, how people are deploying it on-prem and how they're using multi-cloud. It's not just about storage or server or network, it's how you bring in machine learning, deep learning. It's how you bring in cloud. It's how you bring in analytics. It's a challenge around security. And also they're looking for what's next, and quantum is what's next. That's a short time horizons, but we have a 50 qubit system up and running. That's really where you see quantum supremacy. So it's really going to change. I think it's fascinating. Our clients find it fascinating, but also terrifying. We see the leaders and the laggards, and we deal with both. But I think it's a great time to be in storage, but also a great time to be in IBM. Because I think we have the right components.
Because there aren't many companies that can really have a crack at doing this. I think one of the things that always intrigues me is the IT industry as a whole is really only decades old. I think I might need two hands now. It's probably 60 years old. That's not very long in the big scheme of things. And so I know we're always worried about what we're doing next and next quarter and next product release and so on. But if we look back in another 5 or 6 decades from now, what we're doing today is going to look archaic.
I think it's amazing.
And so we're finally getting back to that information side of information technology rather than just the infrastructure.
And leveraging data for really competitive insight, So, and it is competitive advantage. You see that over and over. And that's not as easy. It's not a product. It is a lot of technology, which we can help, but it's really the human capital, and that's where I think we're in better position. I think it's reflected in our momentum in the market, is because that's how we're engaging, that's how we're able to distance ourselves from the competition in a lot of different regards, but I also think it's a great time to be in the industry.
Well, thank you very much for talking. Thank you for doing it. Oh, what are we now? We're 10 to 8 in the evening. Thank you for being a good sport. Good to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.